the Prime Minister of Israel taking aim at the federal government. Benjamin Netanyahu, in a post on Twitter, describing the arson attack on the Israel synagogue in Melbourne as an abhorrent act of anti-Semitism, then saying it is impossible to separate this reprehensible act from the extreme anti-Israeli position of the Labor government in Australia, including the decision to support the UN resolution calling on Israel to bring an end to its unlawful presence in the occupied Palestinian territory and preventing a former Israeli minister from entering the country, adding anti-Israel sentiment is anti-Semitism. Netanyahu citing Australia's decision to vote with 156 other countries at the United Nations to call for the end to Israel's unlawful presence in the occupied Palestinian territory as rapidly as possible. Israel and the United States were among just 8 countries to vote against, while another 7 nations abstained. The Australian Palestine Advocacy Network firing back at Netanyahu's claims, calling it a shameless distraction from his government's crimes against humanity in Palestine. APAN's president saying a war criminal under investigation for genocide has no standing to lecture Australia on morality or justice. Last month, the International Criminal Court issued an arrest warrant against Netanyahu for war crimes and crimes against humanity, something the Israeli PM has called anti-Semitic. It comes as members of the coalition criticise Labor over its handling of the synagogue attack.
The first question the Prime Minister has to answer today is why has he and his government so far refused to categorise this act as an act of terrorism? Certainly the Australian Jewish community feels like this was an act of terrorism, and it is very difficult to understand what else we should call 2 men in the middle of the night seeking to set on fire a synagogue while there were Jews praying inside as anything other than an act of terrorism.
Former Deputy Liberal leader Josh Frydenberg holding a press conference with former Labor Senator Nova Peris, calling on the PM to step up.
Every single day, Australian Jews are being intimidated and harassed on our streets, in their workplaces, and on our campuses. Prime Minister, how did you let it get to this?
Leonardo Puglisi, 6 News.